Hi everyone and welcome to another Hungry Heffy Crafts video. I'm Lesley Oman and in today's card I'm joining a little embossing resist action with some watercolor paint to create this fun rainbow rabbit card. I've got a piece of card here. This is just some plain smooth white cardstock and I've cut it to be the size of the front of a note card. And I've pulled out one of these large background stamps from my stash. This is from October Afternoon. It's called the Midway Rubber Stamp. And I thought it would be fun to use this to create almost like rainbow rays coming out of the middle of my card. I'm adding some Versamark clear embossing ink onto the stamp. And with large stamps like this, I like to ink it up, put the card on top, then add a little bit of scratch paper on top and give it a good rub down. I find you get the best impression this way. You can do it the other way around, but I really like doing it this way. It is a personal choice though. I'm using clear embossing powder for this. You could of course use white because it would look very similar, white on white. The white embossing powder on the white card. It's hard to see, but if I tilt it in the light here, you can see where the embossing powder is shining. Now to add some colour. This is some this is some watercolor paints in tubes that I picked up recently. And all I'm doing is wetting the area that I want to paint and bringing some color into that. It's not very particular. There's not a lot of talent involved here. It's simply just splotching it on there. The great thing is you can take a baby wipe and just rub it over those embossed areas. And because it resists the ink, the ink just wipes away and it looks all nice and shiny. To make it more interesting, I built up some more color in a couple of different layers. So this is a slightly different one that I did previously. Unfortunately, I lost the original footage for this one, but this is what you'll see on the final card. Moving on now to my stamping. This little bunny is going to be featured on my card along with the banner down here. And this is a stamp set from Simon Says Stamp called Baby Party Animals, and I think it's really cute. Using Memento Tuxedo black ink, I'm going to be stamping that onto some Nina Solar White cardstock. But because this was the first time that I actually used this stamp, first of all I stamped it onto a little notebook that I keep nearby. And you can see there that the first impression, the ear wasn't just quite right. With some of your new stamps, what you can do to season them is take an eraser and rub it over the top, and that gets rid of any residue that's on the surface of your stamp, and it'll help you get a better clear impression. So now let's stamp this banner, and I can move on to colouring these in. These images are really small and really quite basic and super easy to colour in, so I'm just using a few copic markers here to add a little colour to this little critter. I'm using some warm greys for the bunny and adding a little bit of the pinky shade for his cheeks, her cheeks, and then some cool grey and a little colourless blender to blend out the belly. For the banner, I do want to add some colour, but first I want to stamp the greeting inside. This is a stamp set from Clearly Besotted, and I'm just holding some of the stamps over the banner to see which would fit nicely inside the banner. So I picked this one here, which says well done, and I'm going to show you now another trick if you want to mold the shape of your stamps. I've taken some scratch packaging here and laid it on my surface. Because it's transparent, I can see right the way through, but because it's a slick surface, my stamp will pretty much mold and stick to the packaging, and then I can very carefully lay the acrylic block on top. And then you can always move and adjust the stamp slightly to make sure it's in the right position. So I'm stamping this on top once again with my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'll leave that for a few minutes to dry before I bring in a little colour. Just adding some blue around the inside of the edges and using the colourless blender to blend that together so it fades out into the middle. I'm going to fussy cut these two embellishments here, leaving a little white banner or a little white rim around the edge. So I'm going to just trim this down ever so slightly. It was a little bit raggedy on the edge, and this is going to go on the front of my note card. But To add a little more interest, I've taken a stitch rectangle die from Lawn Fawn that's slightly smaller than the front of the card base and cut out a frame, and I'm going to be using both pieces on the card, but the inside piece I'm going to raise up. So I've used my ATG gun to add some adhesive around the edges of the front of the card, and then I can stick the frame in place, and this will go on top here. But first of all, I'm going to add some foam. Now you can use foam tape, but I've actually cut this out of some foam that has some stick it adhesive on both sides, so it's really sticky, and I'm going to stick that onto this panel here and then stick this onto the card. When you have a flat piece of foam like this, it makes the card really sturdy, especially if it's going to be going through the mail. There's not going to be any collapsing on the card or anything like that. So let's stick my little bunny and the banner on here with some glue dots. And to finish the card, I think I need a little bit of sparkle. I've got some sequins here. These sequins I think actually came from the pound shop, and there's lots of different colors, so I use them on a lot of my projects. So I picked out a couple of colors, rainbow colors, and I'm also using these little teeny tiny like diamante embellishments, these gems, to stick onto the card as well, just so it has a little scattering of these brightly colored pretties. Thanks so much. That's it. That's the card finished for today. Thanks for watching the video, and once again, I'm Lesley Oman from Hungry Heffy Crafts. You can see more of my work over at hungryheffycrafts.com, and please do give me a thumbs up or subscribe for more of my videos. Bye!